And so we're going to use a new example code here, and I'm going to call this the regional greeting. And the way this works is that we are going to say, let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. What we can see here is that we've got code that says, what's your name? Okay, so my name is Bill, and where am I from? Texas, Australia, or California? Okay, and based on that choice, right, what we're going to do is we're going to say if both this and this are not equal to empty strings, in other words, if those are not empty, so as long as your name is filled out and you've chosen one of the states or one of the places, Australia is not a state, obviously, but it was one of the places where I could think of a useful greeting from. So if those are not true, so we've got a regular if, and we've got if the else. Let's get rid of this middle part for a second. You can see we've got an if that does something and an else that says if one of those is empty, like this, then it says you need to fill out both fields. So if we fill out both fields, then what's it going to do? Then it's going to say if the where from value equals Texas, and we're using identical here because we want it to be identical. It doesn't really matter. We're controlling it with a drop down, so it's not like the user has the ability to choose or type in different things. But basically, what we have here is we're changing the greeting.innerText to howdy, and then we are using a template literal. Notice these are the backtick instead of the single quote. What that means is if we use a $sign and curly braces inside that, then we can inject the variable value. So if we have your name.value, it's going to say howdy and then whatever they type in the name field. So let's try that out. There we go. It says howdy Bill because I chose Texas, and so that takes care of the if branching. And then it's using the template literal and injecting the your name.value into that string and then putting that as inner text. So now if I choose Australia, then it says good day Bill because I'm using else if, and this is where the else if comes in. Notice I'm using if and I have an expression. When I say else if, I'm using a second expression. And this one says if where from value equals Australia or is identical to Australia, then it says good day Bill. And it's using, again, a template literal there. So I have if where from value equals Texas, and then I have else if where from value equals Australia. And then finally I have an else. And if it's not Australia or Texas, it must be California. Okay? And so that's how that set of branching works, because now it is using the if, else if, or else. And by the way this works is the first time something is true, it will execute that code and then move on. It will not execute more than one line. Even if for some reason, if you set this up so that more than one of these can be true, it'll still stop after the first one. So that's an important thing to remember.